Okay, Alchemist is all you now.
That's a terrible thing. All right, so we are going to do something we haven't done for a while, an actual podcast of degenerate discussions. And I've been in a big mystery mood lately. I'm Archimage. I've been in a mystery mood lately. I've got a real live mystery that has not been solved to this day. And I just kind of want to go over it because I think it could be interesting. And my good friends Shadow Artfox and Zed have agreed to help me with, well, my fetish / obsession with mysteries. And I appreciate it, both of you. Thanks.
No
Sure,
problem.
anything to enable you.
Let's face it, I don't need any help in being enabled. Okay, so the mystery I want to talk about is actually the mystery of the Georgia Guidestones. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to explain what this is, explain the controversy behind it and the mystery behind it, and then you guys can pipe in, tell me what you think, and then at the end, we're not going to solve this, no doubt. Actually solving it would require a lot of work that I'm not willing to put into it, and traveling to Georgia, which I'm also not.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're gonna get a black guy to go to Georgia. Yeah, no, that's not happening. You're just trying to get me lynched at that point. You might as well just buy me a rope to tie around my neck.
You don't already own a rope?
Yeah, not one that I feel like hanging myself with.
I'm glad to hear that. Okay. Believe it or not, that might actually be part of
That's
this
never a
discussion.
good sign.
But it's not going to be an essential thing. Okay, so yeah, but what I think we're going to do, what we're probably going to ultimately end up doing, though, is coming up with a kind of profile for the actual mystery of the Georgia Guidestones, which the mystery is who built them.
That's the name of our city.
Yeah. Just like our city that we're being constructed here is background for Mystery Boner City, which in no way describes what's going on here.
And I did start up the timer just because since this is going to be a video, it's going to be much larger than we would want it to be.
That's true. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, so to start off with the Georgia Guidestones, the Georgia Guidestones are actually referred to by two different names. Well, actually, it's referred to a bunch of different names, but the two most common are one, the American Stonehenge, and two, the Message of the Devil, or New World, or World Order, blasphemy, etc., etc. A bunch of hateful slurs, mostly, that I'm not going to say because we get demonetized so quickly.
Like we get money.
Like we're monetizing.
Yeah, good point. So never mind. But anyway, the Georgia Guidestones are actually a monument constructed of granite in Elberton, Georgia. Which, real quick, I'm going to put in the chat a link to a picture of it so you can see what it is real quick before I start talking about it.
Okay.
Now, once you take a look at the picture, to give you both an idea, the actual size of this monument is about 19.5 feet tall. So it's a big-ass monument. It's 19 feet and 3 inches tall. And it is made of 6 granite slabs, and it weighs roughly 238,000 pounds.
Okay.
Yes. Now, okay, so first thing to go is, what are you guys' opinions on a world order? One of the big conspiracies nowadays is that there is a secret world government that secretly controls all of our actions, the economy, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it's called the U.S. government. I mean, that's not a secret. That's the common knowledge. Jeez. Catch up, people.
I know, but you know the conspiracy nuts who think there's a secret order with everything, right?
They're not secret. They charge us taxes every year, damn it.
Well, you see, that's actually my point. I don't believe in that conspiracy just because, one, we all suck at keeping secrets. I mean, we couldn't even keep Area 51 a secret for less than 20 years. Two is, we've seen how governments run. There's no way, I don't see it feasible that a whole bunch of governments, supposedly from all over the world, could come together and actually agree upon a way that the world is going to work. I mean, look at the UN. The UN doesn't shit. But a secret world order of people who are presumably rich billionaires who no doubt also have...
Let me stop you right there. Billionaires ruling the world. We already got a little bit of that looking at Trump, so...
Exactly. And we can see how everyone is going to, not
I'm pretty sure with that single statement, you just insulted every billionaire on the planet.
Probably.
Who cares? They're not giving me money, so I don't really give a shit. Hell, they probably already listened to our conversation.
They are listening to our conversation. That's not in doubt. Okay, so anyway, like I said, I don't believe that there's a secret government world order controlling us, but I will fully believe that there are organizations and cults who want to be the secret world power that eventually controls us all.
Oh, yeah.
Any of you deny that?
No.
Nah.
Yeah. Okay, so the Georgia Guidestones have been accused of being built by a secretive world order. This is because no one actually knows who built them, because they were built anonymously by someone who called themselves R.C. Christian, which was a pseudonym. He actually told the bank manager that it was a pseudonym, and he had chosen it because he was a Christian. Hence his name, Roger C. Christian. The Christian was because he was a Christian, which is odd. You see, the Guidestones are interesting because if you look at the Guidestones, they have on the face of every Guidestone 10 new commandments written in 8 different languages, which include Old Jewish, Old Hebrew, why did I say Jewish? Old Hebrew, Swahili, and Chinese, and I think there's actually some Egyptian hieroglyphics and Babylonian symbols up top. Okay. Now, the commandments are what gets people so upset and has led to the defacing of these monuments several times. The commandments are these 10, and I quote, the first one is the biggest one. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature.
Well, we already fucked that one up.
Okay, that's already way fucked.
Yeah. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity.
Already screwed that one up.
Unite humanity with a...
Okay, you just stop right there. Just stop right there.
Don't bother with the rest of that one.
Yeah, I'm only at 3.
Oh, there's more than 3?
These get worse. These get worse.
There's more than 3?
4.
Yeah.
We're at 4 now.
There's 10.
Yeah, there's 10.
Oh, jeez.
Rule, passion, faith, tradition, and all things in tempered reason.
Okay, keep going.
That's also... Okay.
Fuck that one up, yeah.
Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts.
Okay, no, just keep going.
That's gone.
There's some states that still have slavery, so just keep going.
Let all nations rule internally, resolving external dispute in a world court.
We tried with we tried multiple times. What did we call it before it was the UN, the Alliance, or League of Nations? Yeah. We saw how well that went.
By the way, doesn't that, on a slight side note, doesn't that kind of contradict itself if you're going to let all nations internally resolve with external disputes in world court? Doesn't that go against? You know what? Never mind.
Just keep going. 7.
Yeah. Okay. This one you guys are gonna love. Number 7, avoid petty laws and useless officials.
Fuck that up.
Okay, well, I mean, communists exist, so you can cross that right off.
Balance personal rights with social duties.
Again, keep going.
Somewhat fucked.
No country's done that right.
Prize truth, beauty, love.
Okay, just go. No, at beauty, you might well just skip the rest at that point. Because beauty's in the eye of the beholder, and we all can't even agree what's beautiful anymore at this point in the world, so keep going.
Okay, so, and the final 10th and final commandment is be not a cancer on the earth.
Okay, just keep going. Fucked. No, I met too many people who I would consider a cancer upon society, let alone the earth.
Leave room for nature, leave room for nature. Literally, it says leave room for nature twice.
Considering how our rainforests are doing, I would say that's severely fucked. Oh, yeah, and let's not forget about the icebergs.
Yeah.
Because most people do forget about those.
Those are the 10 Commandments written on these Guidestones. Initial thoughts?
Well, we screwed
we've
every
already
one of them
fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, as you can imagine, the controversy comes from the 500 million, which basically says that we should get rid of over 90% of the population on Earth.
Okay. Now, to that, I will say this. In my younger days, when I was far more crueler and far more ruthless and far more...
That must have been terrifying.
Well, yeah. I often considered that we need to just almost do regulated executions or full sterilizations because we are going to overpopulate ourselves before I even reach the prime of my adulthood.
So you learned that was bullshit, right?
Well, I learned that I would have to become a tyrannical dictator to get people to listen to that.
That sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, no, too much work than I was willing to put in.
Zed?
About the same.
Yeah, so, as you can imagine...
I mean, I never had thoughts like that, but I already knew that, like, yeah, that was never gonna fucking work.
Yeah, I mean, but still, I mean, hell, even Thanos left us with half.
I mean, I'm sorry, Archimage, but the way... at least with Thanos, you had civilizations that, you know, actually could use their technology to possibly, you know, terraform planets to give themselves more resources. In our case, we've already planning how to chuck this planet and go to Mars.
Yeah, that's never gonna work out.
So it's like, you know, we're not even trying to make the best out of this. We're just trying to chuck it and leave it at this point.
True, but thankfully the Earth heals faster than we give it credit for.
It does, but we need to give it time to heal.
Oh no, we of course need to give it time to heal, which there are people who are slowly getting that, but it is a slow process.
I mean, we still have arguments of whether there's actual a thing of global warming, so...
There's always going to be arguments. I mean, there is such a thing, it's just we're not causing it.
Yeah,
It's huge controversy because people... everybody talks about the cars, like, nobody... Do you know how much toxins and poisons a volcano spews into the air with one eruption? It's a ridiculous amount.
I can imagine.
It's literally
all of that is nothing but basically just a bunch of other soot and stuff.
Yeah, no, it's all sorts of poisons. Like, literally, it's about the equivalent of all our cars in a year. A freaking year. In one bloody eruption. It's like, oh my god. Plus well, never mind. You know what? I'm not going to get into the global warming argument. That's going to go through a whole bunch of geology, and nobody wants to listen to geology. I mean, geologists don't even want to listen to geology. Where was I going with this? Oh, right. So, along with the monument, which I've shown you guys a picture of, there's also a smaller monument. Well, not a monument, a slab of granite stone on the side, which tells all the dimensions of the granite, but also tells its purpose. This stone structure was first of all built to last, and that's how it's lasted through all of the defacing that's constantly gotten. And it also acts like a calendar and a clock. Through certain portholes and peepholes on it, you can tell when noon is. You can also tell the calendar, the lunar cycle calendar, through various slots and holes in the granite. So it's kind of like a Stonehenge calendar, which is what it was actually modeled. So that's actually told on the slab right next to it. And it's meant for this, so just in case humanity ever accidentally goes through and loses, like, most of its information in some apocalyptic event, we're able to, you know, at least be able to tell calendar and time from this. At least that's what the stone says. Underneath it also says that there's supposed to be a time capsule buried under it, but it doesn't say when the date what date the capsule is supposed to be removed. And there has actually been some chipping done because people believe a time capsule's under there. But as it turns out, it's been confirmed there's no time capsule under there. But I'll get to that later. So composition is blue pyramid granite, and it's constructed and made in Elberton, Georgia. Do you know why?
Cheap granite.
Actually, yes. Elberton, Georgia is actually the unofficial capital of granite for the U.S. and some even say the world. Though that one I find kind of hard to say. But yeah, so what are your thoughts on the big-ass monument so far? Just initial thoughts.
I just think it's a rock.
Honestly, that's about where I am. It's the same way I feel about Stonehenge, is I'm just like, they're a bunch of rocks. Do you ever think maybe something just doesn't have a meaning?
Well, no, this one is, the whole purpose behind it is that it's supposed to have a meaning.
I know, but I mean, it's again the same thing I'm thinking with that I think of whenever I think of Stonehenge. Is I'm like, I see rocks.
We're very cultural here.
Yeah,
I can see that. Okay, so a little bit more history with it. The part that you two will, well, probably that Shadow R. Fox will be the most interested in is the overall cost. So the land to erect this thing on actually had a down payment of about $5,000. Now, the exact price
when was this made? Sorry, when was this?
1980.
Okay, 1980, $5,000. Okay.
So $5,000 was made just for the land. Now, the entire structure, the exact price has never been divulged by the bank, who, handled the money loan from the people who built it. But the estimated cost today that it would take is roughly $500,000. Back around 1980, it would have roughly cost $225,000.
I mean, that seemed like a huge waste of money. They could have just gave it to me if they wanted to.
Oddly enough, that's actually what the bank manager says. So this is where we go into the history, and this is where it gets a little strange. So the creation of this monument actually began with a man named Joe Fenley. Now, he was the president of Elbert Granite Finishing Company in Georgia. He was approached by a very neatly dressed man who wanted to basically hire him to build a monument, this monument in question. And the man's name was, as you probably guessed, Mr. Robert C. Christian. He was said to be middle-aged, and he apparently was the spokesperson for a group who wanted to save mankind and make a monument for all the human race for generations to come. He outlined the size in metric measurements, and, well, to be fair, Joe Fenley claims that he thought the man was completely nuts. But
I was about to say, so he talked to a cultist.
Yeah, and, well, he thought he was joking, so because he thought that he was out of his mind, he decided to try and get rid of him. So he quoted a price that was far higher than it would have actually been. And instead of, making Christian run for the hills, Christian agreed to the price. Which was very odd, to say the least.
That should have sent up red flags, but free money is free money.
Flags. Oh, it sent up lots of red flags, especially when Christian claimed to represent a small group of loyal Americans who believed in God. And also claimed that all of them lived outside of Georgia, and they just wanted to leave a message for the future.
That, as a black person, I would be scared to death of that shit. That sounds like my worst nightmare.
Right. So, anyway, after getting the quote, Joe sent R.C. Christian to the Granite City Bank to meet with his friend White C. Martin. And according to Christian, the group he was associated with had been planning this monument for over 20 years. And also that the group wished to remain anonymous, hence the mystery of who exactly built it. And he also admitted to White C. Martin, the bank manager, when he was telling this, that even his name was a pseudonym. chosen because he was a Christian. Now, Martin claims that for tax reasons and to be able to do a thorough background check, Christian actually did reveal to him his real name, but only if Martin promised never to divulge the secrets for the rest of his life. And to this day, R.C. White C. Martin actually never has divulged the secret, despite people constantly asking. He's retired now, retired from the bank, and he adamantly refuses to tell who Christian was. Though he has apparently, every now and again, told who Christian is not. Now, Elberton was chosen because it has a lot of granite. It is the granite capital, and it's also got a very mild climate to help preserve the monument. And according to R.C. Christian, his great-grandmother was a resident in Georgia. Now, the plot selected is the highest point in Elberton County, and it has a good range of summer and winter solstices and sunsets. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, because, well, you might be thinking this, but what I initially thought was, okay, if this stone has all these astrological features, then the group that built it needed to have knowledge of astronomy, needed to have knowledge of how the sunset goes through, and needed good engineering backgrounds, right? Mm-hmm. Here's the thing, though. When the thing was being built and commissioned, R.C. Christian, through the bank, actually hired over 80 engineers and astronomers to look over and investigate the placement and the astrological signals for each one of them. And even the translations of all of the languages were done by UN translators themselves and college professors. So that goes right out the door. Oddly enough, the Guidestones have actually put Elberton on the map now, so they've actually become a protected monument despite many people hating them. Can't imagine why they would hate them, but it's just mass genocide. What's to hate about that, right?
Yeah, break a few eggs.
Okay, so a few other facts that need to be known about this monument is, one, the actual town of Elberton is a huge place for Freemasons. There is just a hubbub of Freemason lodges there and Freemason members. In fact, the Joe Fenley, who later on would be the person that R.C. Christian first met with, would be commissioned to build this monument. And he oversaw everything, and he was a Freemason. And everyone who worked on the monuments was a Freemason. So you can imagine the Freemason conspirators just going to town with that. However, that's a little, well, I'll explain more into that later. R.C. Christian himself was said to have worn an expensive suit of clothes. He looked very put together. He was intelligent and had a very articulate demeanor. Now, the place location actually isn't that telling either, because he'd originally had a different place over in Hancock County on a line stretching west from Augusta in mind. But it was actually the bank manager, Martin, according to Martin. This is all according to Martin. He claimed this, that Martin argued against the location and said that Alfred County would be cheaper and easier to accommodate. Just like a bank manager to find a cheaper way, right?
Yeah.
Right, so... And it was actually purchased October 1st, 1979. Now, later on, R.C. Christian would actually write a book called Common Sense Renewed, which would actually state that he himself was both the author of the book and the sponsor alone of the Georgia Guidestones Monument. Which kind of defeats the whole purpose. I mean, why lie? Why initially lie about being part of a group if you were just going to take the plane later? I mean, how does that make any sense? So those are the facts with the Georgia Guidestones. Any thoughts so far?
It just all seemed like a huge waste of money to me.
You're stuck on the money, aren't you?
To me, the ending just made it sound like they couldn't figure out a story.
I mean, it is almost like, well, heck, I can go out, buy some concrete, and then just, write hieroglyphics on the ground and say, oh, look, it's the great language of the Swahili missing tribe. And I could probably get a couple of dumbasses to believe that.
Well, yeah, without a doubt. To be fair, though, all the languages are authentic. In fairness to the monument.
I mean, yeah, it just... I mean, I don't see anything that's... It seems like just a bunch of random people who had way too much time on their hand, who wanted to change the world, but didn't want to actually put work into changing it, decided to put a giant rock up in the middle of, what, Georgia?
I mean, not a cheap rock.
So again, a bunch of people who wanted to change the world without actually changing the world.
True. Now, RC Christian actually, well, again, this is, RC Christian was never seen again after this. This is all from White C. Martin, the bank manager who dealt with this, claiming that R.C. Martin's original plan was that the monument would inspire others, and about 12 more monuments would be set up around the United States over the years. There was even a fund ran by a couple to get the money to build this stuff, but the fund collapsed when the couple died.
Yeah, no wonder.
So that never came to... Yeah. Surprisingly, no one wanted to build more of them. Who would have guessed? Okay, so based on this, any questions so far? Anything you want clarified, or I'll do my best to answer.
That, let me quickly just stop this part and start another part real fast, since we did hit a little stopping point.